My name is Jim Estes, and today I'm going to talk about a drill that I think is extremely important for the swing plane. So what I want you to do is, and this, by the way, is going to give you an instant understanding of exactly the feeling you want to have in the golf swing. Take a club. You can put a rod, alignment rod, in the grip, or I'm sorry, in the butt end of the golf club. Take the golf club, turn it like you're going to hold it, and then what I want you to do is take that club, put it right against your left hip, so you're holding both clubs here. Now you've got an alignment rod on the ground and a golf ball, and what I want you to do, getting into your good posture position, your weight over the arches, feel balanced. The insides of the heels are going to be about the width of your hips. Take a swing back, slow motion, and trace with that alignment rod the target line all the way up. The shaft should be parallel to your target line at the top, and then slowly coming down, trace the line. And do this in slow motion. Right into the impact position. So this is a great feedback tool, visual feedback tool for learning the proper swing plane. Go right to your impact position. I encourage you to do this drill in slow motion, and if you have 5 minutes a day, if you do this drill every day, I guarantee you're going to improve your golf swing. So again, I think you'll find this to be extremely helpful. JimEstesGolf.com if you have any questions. I like your setup, but I want your arms to hang directly under your shoulders. Now, what does that really mean?
So they're sticking out a bit?
They are. They're sticking out a bit, yeah. Okay. So here's my preference. With your build, the shoulder sockets, your arms should hang right under the shoulder sockets.
Okay.
You're reaching just a fraction, I would say. Here's your shoulder socket. If we drop the plumb line, you move your hands in just a fraction.
Okay.
I think you're reaching just a bit. Now here's the real issue that I have. When you initiate the movement of the club head, you do it with your wrists and hands.
Okay.
And I want to take that out of your backswing. I want the wrists to be absolutely like they're in a cast. You're not moving them at all. You see, this angle never changes.
Okay.
So the core, the oblique abdominal muscles, engage and rotate the core. So your hands are void of any movement. And this joint doesn't move either. Okay, so watch this takeaway. I learned this a long time ago. If you initiate the movement with your hands, then your hands have to do some compensation during the swing to fix that.
When you come back, okay.
All right. And that creates some inconsistency when you start to use your hands right away. There shouldn't be any voluntary initiation of any hand action. It all happens. All right, so without you thinking about it. So watch this takeaway here. Right on the takeaway, you break your wrist. Right there. So right there, you start to use your hands too early. The club head moves in as the hands move out.
Okay.
That's completely contrary to what all good players do.
Okay.
All right, now watch this guy on the right, and I can put up any person on the PGA Tour, and they all take the club away, including the ladies. His hands will never leave that yellow line. He doesn't move anything in the hand action. You see how void of hand action that is. So there's a big difference between. So that's all I'm going to tell you.
I've heard so many things over the years that my mind is trying to, that they say, oh, you know, you don't hit it long because you don't use your wrist. They don't cock your wrist. So
that's true.
That's what maybe I try to do.
Right.
Right.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But you know what? Angular momentum, the law of conservation of angular momentum, which is physics, you're going to need a lever. There's two levers: the length of your arm plus the amount of, you have radial and ulnar deviation this way. You got movement. Some people don't have that.
So it has to be this way then, as opposed
well,
to this way?
we want a combination. So there is some movement up, but there's also movement on an angle.
Right, okay.
So I would rather have a 45-degree bend instead of a 90.
Okay.
Okay, but I don't want you to think about that at all.
No. Okay.
On the
So keep it
initiation,
still.
yeah, it'll naturally start to hinge without you
some
thinking
point.
about it.
Okay.
All right. So the only thing you really do that I think that needs really a big adjustment is that takeaway. Now, what I want you to do to practice that is stick a golf club, and everything I'm saying is being recorded. You're going to put a club at 11 o'clock, right on your right toe, and I want you to practice taking the club away, moving your belt buckle, or initiating with your core, and I want those two clubs to be parallel to one another when they're parallel to the ground. When the club you're holding is parallel to the ground.
Okay. And this is, you say, okay.
So you're going to put a club right across at I call that 11 o'clock.
Okay, to me it's 1 o'clock.
Okay, fine, 1 o'clock. Right, you're right. It is 1 o'clock.
Okay.
You're right. 12 is there. That's 1. You're right. So.
Okay. I see what you mean now. So here's your 12.
12.
Here's your 12.
Yeah,
here's
we're saying
12.
the same thing.
That's fine. Okay, very good.
So basically, it's a little bit more on an angle. So essentially, what I'm saying is, wherever this points, when you take it away, I want it to remain pointing in the same position. So there is no manipulation.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying here?
Yeah.
If you manipulate, now it's no longer pointing in the same place.
Okay.
So a true one-piece takeaway is that where the movement, there is no angle change here in the wrist.
Okay.
That's all we're talking about. All right. Now, you see where that club is? His club, I would say, if you want to talk about a clock, this is 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock, 11 and 5,
okay,
or 11 and 4,
okay,
30,
yeah,
whatever we're talking about there.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
All right. That's all I want you to do. I want you to practice that to where it becomes a habit. Now, it's going to require probably 50 repetitions a day for 3 weeks.
Okay.
Everyone's different. You know, Erickson had a study, a sports psychologist in the 70s, and he says 10,000 hours equals mastery.
Who knows?
It was a small sample size. The research is, at best, shaky. Okay? I mean, you have to sample probably 100,000 people, not 100.
Yeah.
You know, for it to be legitimate. I mean, in medicine, case studies are much larger.
Exactly.
So that's it. I mean, that position is pretty good at the top.
Okay.
All right. Now, what would I change about that? Not a whole lot. The only thing I would change is I would drop your left arm so it's pinned against your pectoral muscle.
Okay.
So that the tricep is pinned on the left arm. I mean,
I don't chicken wing, do I?
no, but I think you lift your arms too high.
Oh, okay.
So here's what I'm saying. This is sort of the angle. I want the club to stay in that yellow area.
Okay.
If your club is coming down above that, we're going to change your backswing. It's simple. If your hands are lower, you're going to come in shallower. If your hands are higher, you're going to come in steeper.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's you know,
Too high.
I think they're a bit high, but I'm gonna leave the jury on that one. I want to see where you come down first.
Okay.
If you can stay in that cone, I'm not going to change it much. Okay, so you're a little steep. A little bit steep. I'd like to see that club shaft a little bit lower
Okay,
coming in.
I can do that.
See the club? Yeah, so all you're going to do is just feel your left arm is more across and not up. That's it.
When I think about it, you know, how I try to make myself do it is that, you know, when you're skipping a rock, you don't skip rock from here, you're skipping it from here.
Right,
So I try to-
right. So, you know, your shaft plane, if it were to be, I think right now, that top line I just drew, that's sort of not where I want you to be on the downswing. And many of my students that slice, although you don't slice anymore,
So I do.
that's where your pull comes from.
Okay.
You know, a pull and a slice are the same thing, they're just a different face angle. But you have a good swing. Very good swing. You stand up a bit. And
I stand up as I come down? Or
on the backswing. Watch your head come up just a bit. See how you come out of your posture?
Right.
That's only a couple inches. But if you swung around more and not up, you wouldn't stand up.
Okay.
Yeah, so here's all I'm saying, to put it in a nutshell. I would like to drop your hands into that cone area, maybe 3 inches, 4 inches. That's it. And the takeaway, just change the takeaway so you don't use your hands, and that's it. I think that'll give you a lot more consistency.
Okay. Just have to practice.
So watch this guy. I want you to get in front of a mirror in your bathroom And I want you to practice, and the way you're going to practice is measure the height of your hands relative to the top of your head. I don't want your hands to be over the top of your head. Alright, so here's how you would envision this. If I drew a box around your body, and this is the ceiling, I don't want your hands to touch the ceiling.
Okay.
Now his hands are a bit higher, but watch where he comes down, and this is where we want to be. Now at that point, his hands...
Always in the yellow cone.
Yeah, everything's in the yellow. And yours is just a little
I think
bit...
what he did, which I don't do, is because he almost kind of sat down a little bit.
Yes, correct. And that's a power move.
Yeah.
Squat, and then
Yeah.
there's linear force
Okay.
pushing up. That's what Rory does. A lot of these
Yeah.
guys get vertical force. All right, so you're only a couple inches off. I mean, but can you play good golf from here? Absolutely. You can play good golf from there. What's my preference? My preference would be right here for your hands.
Okay, to come down.
Yeah, just a little bit more on the inside. So your line, if you came down on this path, that would be automatic if you were in a different hand position.
Okay.
Here's how you know. If I draw a line from the ball to your hands, that's a direct line of force. So that's exactly where your hands are going to come down. Now, if we put your hands in a different position at the top, let's say we put your hands right here. That's where your hands are going to come down. So, just dropping your hands down 2 or 3 inches is going to change your path.
Okay.
You understand that, right?